Hello everyone, this is Ramona Pace. I'm an artist and I'm going to show you a short clip today of how to mix paints and let them all flow together with a wet and wet technique. I just wanted to show you what the paper is that I'm using. This is Arches cold press. It comes in a couple different kinds, hot pressed and rough. I like the cold press, and the 140 pound is really nice to work with. You can go with 300 pound, which can take more absorption from if you're doing a lot of wet and wet. But this pretty much covers it, and this is in block form. So I'm just going to take this lid off. It did come apart, so I'm just going to put this to the side. Excuse me. Okay. I'm using Holbein paints. I've got Brilliant Pink, Bright Rose, Silver, and Viridian Hue. And I'm also going to use the Gouache White, Titanium White. I prepared them on a plate, a white plate. If you can use something like this, it's nice to flow the paint around. It's a lot easier than plastic. I'm using 3 different kind of brushes. It's a set. This is Silver Black Velvet Rounds in 4, 8, and 12. I use 12 a lot, and then I'll use this one here and these 2 for other details that I don't want to be too big. I'm going to start off with the 12, and I have a little container of water, and I also have a little spray bottle filled with water too. Okay, here goes. And what I'm going to show you is that, oh, and I also use a towel versus paper towels. I have a folded up towel here for when I need to dab off the water off my brush after I clean it. I'm just going to make a circle of water in here. Now what happens is whatever you wet, well, that's where the paint will stop at. So if I was to go all the way to the edges, the paint would absorb all the way to it. But I'm trying something new today. It's a new technique for me, because I always paint all the way to the edges. I wanted to be a little more creative today and show you how cool it looks when the water and the paint mixes together and it flows. So you don't want the paper too wet. I keep dipping in the water here a little bit just to get a little bit more. I just want to kind of get my edges. Okay, that looks like a nice circle. Alright, so I'm going to just dip my brush into the water and then go to a color. I'm going to go to pink first. I'll turn it so you can see the color. And then kind of just dab it through. If I need a little more water, I put it in like that. Or you could take your spray bottle too and put a couple sprays of water on there. Alright. See how that flows? That's because it's the water. And see, when I go right to the edge, it stays right there. I love this technique. Okay, now I'm just going to clean off my brush, dab it on the towel. That cleans off my brush. I'm going to go with the silver. No, I'm going to go with the Viridian. It's right in the center, so you might not see it. But it's such a pretty color. I use this a lot for when I'm doing oceans and water. And if you mix it with white, it brings it down to a very light seafoam color. See, I just wanted to show you when you start mixing the paints. And this one's a little thinner I did, so then you could see it flowing. Awesome, isn't it? It's so much fun. Now, if I want to go a little deeper, I'm not going to use as much water to dilute it, and it's going to be darker. So then when I just kind of dab in, you'll see that you get the different color shades, the variance in colors. Okay. I dipped in the water and then the towel. Now I'll dip in my water again, and I'm going to go to the bright rose. So you can see it. Look at that. It's so cool. I'm going to go kind of where I did the pinks. Isn't that awesome? See how much fun you can have with this? Now, if I did this dry, like you can blow dry this at each stages, which I do a lot in my painting, then it wouldn't do the bloom. You would have more control, and it would stay right where you painted. I'm not into that right now because I want to show you how cool this looks when you do this. All right. So I am at a drafting table, and there is a slight slant. So you can see it's pooling down at the bottom. You can just kind of go around like that, move it. Okay. Okay. Next I'm going to do silver. Sorry. Everything is rolling off my table. Okay, the silver is a little thicker. So you might have to just work it a little bit with the water. So it just gives it an iridescence. If you want it stronger, then you dip in there, and then you get it darker. This will give a shine. A little bit of sparkle. Getting a little bleeding down here, so I'm going to take some of this off. So I'm drying off my brush and just kind of sopping up some of the paint. There, see how that works? Now I wasn't going for precise edges, so this is okay if it bloomed. But if you wanted to fix it, you can just go into, say, one of your colors. I'm going to do the silver. And just kind of take the tip of your brush. There, see? So I'm just kind of very carefully going around the edges. And there's just a slight little, not roundness there, so as you can see, you just kind of play with it until you're happy. Okay, isn't that cool? Now, here's the white gouache. Okay, we can just put some blooms in. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? So basically the lesson with this is just to show you how wet on wet works and what you can do. You can do all kinds of things. And like I said, if you want to stop it and then start over, because in most of my paintings I do layers upon layers, and it gives a really nice effect. So I would dry this and then I would start over and put more color on top. But I just wanted to show you this. That looks cool. Okay. Now, one other thing I like to do is do splatters. But I am going to dry this first, so bear with me with the hairdryer. A few minutes. That's all it takes. Okay. Now, you take your brush and you dip it in a couple of the colors you want to do. So I'm going to do some of the bright rose. I'm not going to do too much because this picture is really awesome. So you don't want your brush too wet with the color, or else you just get a big splotch of the color. And then I take my hand and I do it like this. Some people flick with a harder brush. I don't like to get my fingers all covered in the paint. So I just kind of do that. I'm not going to do too much. Okay, that's it for the bright rose. Now I'm going to do the Viridian. I want it a little darker, so I'm going to get it more deeper color onto my brush. I'm just working the brush. I turn it over and over and get the brush saturated. If it's too wet, I just kind of dip it or scrape it somewhere so that I get some of the water off. And then when I start, I just start very gently until I know the effect that's going to come off of the brush. Because like I said, I've had it where it made a big spot and I was like not too happy about that. So I'm going to be doing more of these videos. I love teaching, and anybody can paint. You just have to be willing to sit down and take the time to do it and just explore how wonderful painting is. It's very good for the soul. Okay, I'm going to use the white gouache. I always end with the white gouache. It's very good for the soul. It's so relaxing, and I'll be here to teach you, and that's what I love to do. So this is a very simple technique. You don't have to have the Holbein paints and the expensive Arches paper. You can start off with less, expensive paper. Okay, so now that is too wet. See how that came out? So I'm going to dip more into my thicker paint, and now do it. There we go. Because then it shows. See how that shows up better? You'll know right away if it's too diluted because it'll look transparent. And that's not the effect we're going for here. We're going for bold. Okay. And that's all I'm going to do to this painting. And I'm going to just dry it and it'll be all done. So hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. There'll be more coming. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. That would be greatly appreciated. And there you go. Love it. Thank you. Have a great day.